Hey everybody, welcome to Brick System Brothers. My name's Nathan Masters. Today's video is a tutorial for modifying the cockpit of the Dragon Horse Jet, a Monkey Kid set from this year, 2021. The set number is 820. I've put this on Rebrickable with just the studio file for free instructions, but I wanted to do a video tutorial. Some of it does get a little bit tricky down in the base. So this has been up for a little while now. I was thinking I'd do a video sooner, but didn't get to it. So doing that now. In any case, this is just a slight modification of the set itself. Now the set does include a little side build vending machine or whatever, but my studio model is just the jet. So here is the original version. I'd like to pick up the set eventually, but a studio build was kind of the preliminary major for me. And as I got going through the build, I was just thinking it'd be nice to have the cockpit a little more with visibility, just in terms of the minifig actually looking out forward instead of looking up into the sky. And a lot of inspiration and discussion on that had actually happened on Brickset when Hue posted their review there early in the year. So I built up the original model from the instructions online, piece for piece how it goes, and just ignored the little arcade build. And then I took a little time to develop a modification which not only changes the visibility, so now that the minifig is looking out straight through the front, it also added room for a second minifig in the cockpit. And there's some structural modifications back here. I did have to take off one of these fins, but trying to keep a minimum of pieces added, and at the same time the pieces that I did add I wanted to be somewhat general and accessible. So here are the parts that will be used to change over from the original Dragon Horse Jet to my modified version with cockpit design for a passenger and changing the view. So go ahead and gather up these pieces, or if you just want to follow along, we're going to get right into it. Alright, so of course the first thing to do is start doing a little bit of disassembly. I'm going to just take pieces off and pull them to the side. The ones that we'll be reusing I'm going to set over here. There's a couple of pieces that won't get reused that I'll just probably delete. So I'll just delete this one now because we're not going to use this fourth fin. This piece we will not be reusing. These two we will reuse, but there's an additional two up here that will probably get deleted. But you want to work your way down to this dark gray plate right here. So that's kind of what we need to remove on the back. Now as far as what's already here in the cockpit, we're going to change quite a bit of this, but this 2x2 plate down here with two studs is going to stay where it's at. The most tricky part of removing pieces from in here is going to be these 1x1 studs not on top snot bricks. And the reason it's going to be hard to take these out is because I'll grab this and turn it. You can actually see there's a stud on here that's connected into the sidewall. So this might be something that you need to take off other sections to be able to get this out. Of course, in the studio digital environment, you can just click on it and get rid of it. So that piece we will be removing, this piece we'll be removing, and these 1x3 sidewalls we will not use at all either. Alright, so those are all out of the way. We want to get down to these 2x2 kind of snot brick plate things all the way down here. We do need to take out these 1x2 ingot in tan and put those to the side. We are going to put those back in, but not where they are. And also take out this 1x2 tan chair element here. So you should have the windshield off, some tan pieces, should have gotten rid of some of the light gray pieces in here, and you're down pretty much to some of the first pieces that you put down when you built the jet. The other thing that we're going to take off right now are some of the cheese slopes up in the control area, and to actually get these out you'll have to remove this whole section of parts right here. Now go ahead and take out these 1x2 bricks with the clip. So this 2x2 area right here, we are going to put in the first new piece, and that is this white 2x2 plate. We're just going to put that in the place of where these clips were, and kind of close up that pocket again. Now you can put these 3 back in place if you want. You can leave them off until later as well. And the next thing you're going to do is take off these 1x2 slopes as well, and turn those, put them up here in the front. We're getting those out of the way because we are going to be putting some different kind of slope pieces back there when we start building up behind the canopy. Alright, so that kind of takes some things out of the way back there, and now actually our control panel up front in the horse jet is complete. So this is kind of all the way done up here. Of course, if I did have the physical model, I would probably be adding in a few more control panels. I do like the return to the printed 1x2 from the old days though, so that's a cool piece to include. Alright, let's keep breaking this down. We do need to get these out of the way. 1x2 vented slopes. We are also going to move these 1x1 tiles to a different location. The 1x1 round studs you will not be needing, so I'm going to delete those here. And now at this point you are going to need to slightly disassemble this dark gray plate. So it's something that you can leave in place, but you're going to need to pry it up enough to get this 2x3 slope out. So it can be something that you just remove all the way, but usually when I'm working with something that stays in place for the most part, I can usually just get one end, maybe get a brick separator in there and lift that up enough. All we need to do is get this piece out and set that to the side. I think I'm going to delete that later, but before you push that back down, take this 2x2 light gray brick and put it in that cavity now. So we're going to fill that back up. We're going to shorten this space right here and free up this 1x2 area for the backrest of the second minifig chair, and kind of tie this back in at the same time. So that's pretty much everything you'll need to do going backwards. From here on up is just building upwards. So let's start with some of the first pieces down in the bottom here. We're going to take this 2x3 tan plate and put it kind of in that obvious spot right behind the other one. And now we're going to take these 1x4 tan plates and put those on either side where we had those panels before. So we're starting to build up the kind of the cushion or the seat. And when I would build these in cockpits and in airplanes, I like to kind of make it all the same color, almost more of a luxurious seating style that really encompasses the minifig. So, you know, maybe erring on the side of part usage, but I feel like that does a nice job sometimes just for building up the interior as well as the wonderful exterior of the set. Alright, these 1x4 slopes, actually probably the pieces that will be the hardest to procure when making this modification. I happen to have some of these from one of the Star Wars, I think it was the AAT Trade Federation set, but not in too many sets. This 1x4 tan slope, it's a very shallow angle. Not absolutely crucial to use this piece, I just thought it was the one that worked the best in terms of giving the minifig room for the arms up here at the front, and also kind of leading up to the raised portion towards the back. Okay, now that those are in place, we can place these back in. Our little modified tiles here are going to go on top of that slope and give a little bit of an armrest effect right there, like so. And just check this for reference real quick. I think we're putting in 2 of these 1x2 plates on top of that, and now we'll put our first backrest back in, and the first seat for the pilot is complete. So you can see that we've left this 2x2 plate with 2 studs up in the front. This kind of plate is nice to use because it gives enough grip on the minifig legs to stay in place, but it also doesn't hold it down too tightly so that you can't remove them. So that one's actually exactly where it was placed initially. We're going to place the other one here in the back on top of that 2x3 plate. So that's something you can put in before you do this piece if you want, but at any point you can put that one in the back there. And now this piece we're going to put up for the other backrest as well, kind of nestled in there. I'm gonna double check real quick. I think so far so good. I do want to see if that was a little bit higher or not. I think that's correct. These are just two custom minifigs I built to show what's going on here. We'll get them out of the way. Yeah, so everything is a match up to this point. Just wanted to double check and make sure we were still on the right track over here. Okay, so kind of our seating is done here. Actually, let's have these minifigs jump back in place, and you can see how the arms interact with all these components, because that's one of the main concerns when you're modifying this area is how are the minifigs arms going to be fitting here. So everything should work out. Again, I've only done this digitally, so there might be some interference, like there's an intersection here with the hands and the controls. You should be able to just raise the arms up a little bit and take care of that. Same thing here with the backrest. I've got the hands turned out at a slight angle, so there should be no intersections here. And everything else looks good. As long as you don't have too bulky of a hair element on the second passenger, that windscreen should still be able to come down over the top like that. Alright, let's hide that again and start looking at the back of the model, where we need to add in some of these other slopes and the clips for the windshield. So we did get the other one of these out of the way already. So now at this point we should be ready to put on our modified 1x2 slopes. And I think, yeah, I think it's just two of these. So the front two will be going here and here, and then behind those it actually gives us the same profile, but it's the solid version of this piece that has that goes all the way back to the full height of one brick. So we'll put these in place. So now we have this continued profile. It actually continues up from this large triangular wedge. Just that slope goes up as well. It's slightly different from our cheese profile slope, but still somewhat continuous along, as you travel the streamline here. So that goes built up like that. Now underneath the other two ones of these, I decided to reuse these 1x1 tiles just for the sake of, we want to minimize parts that are introduced and maximize the reuse of the old parts. So put those underneath, and then these go on top. So these end up only being connected by one stud. If this proves to be too fragile of a connection, then it's just a simple matter of changing out these tiles for 1x1 plates. Of course, that does introduce two additional pieces you'll need to add in, but those are pretty common elements, so you shouldn't have too much trouble there. Alright, so we have been building this up. Now we need to see what's going to kind of come into play back here. Remember, I did delete one of these kind of canopy elements. It turns out that by adding all of this bulk here, I just wasn't able to fit that back in a way that looked good. So I decided to take it all the way out. Let's hide some more of these pieces and kind of see what we've got going on underneath everything back here. Alright, so we're down to this 2x3 black plate, and underneath that 2x3 black plate here is our dark gray plate that we have left in place. So we put on this last 1x2 plate kind of behind that headrest. Our 2x3 black plate will go on top of all of that and tie that all in. Let's put that back on over here. Show everything again and work our way back down. And at this point, I think we can put on, yeah, we put on these two again, right here. Get out of my hide tool. So I put an extra one of these on. That doesn't need to be there. I think it doesn't show still. Right there and right there. Does that look correct? should be all good. Yeah. Alright, so put those two on there. Our last new element goes on to kind of slope back down to those fins, and our cheese slopes will now go on the side here. And I think these studs get left exposed, so if you don't like that, you can just add some more cheese slopes right there. No, I'm definitely missing something. There should be another, there's something built up underneath that I forgot to put in. Hang on a second. Yep, okay, there is another one of those 2x3 plates. That's what I forgot. Alright, take this off. And we'll just use our clone tool here. Copy that and stack it. So there's two 2x3 black plates stacked right here. That's what I was forgetting. Now we can put on our 1x2 with the hinges. This needs to be up that high because otherwise you won't be able to get your minifigs in. And this seems actually to be the perfect height to where the top of this canopy kind of comes up right over that passenger head and then slopes back down. So it does need to be exact the way that I had originally built it. And now we should be pretty much done with the modifications. I'm trying to see if I ended up using these 1x2 vented slopes, and I don't think I put those back in anywhere. So we'll get rid of those, get rid of that slope. We don't use these extra two. And now the canopy actually gets turned around and attached on this clip right there. And now when this closes, it actually closes to be mostly level, like as it's used in the X-Wing. So that is the modification tutorial for 80020 Dragon Horse Jet from Monkey Kid. With this modification, you can fit an additional minifig in the cockpit, and it actually gives the minifig room to see out directly in front instead of kind of staring up at the sky like Hugh pointed out in the brickset review. If you like having it the original way, well, and you just want to have another minifig in there, there's probably an easier way to go about it, but this solution specifically solves those two issues that I mentioned. Again, I'll just mention this has all been done digitally. I have not tested this with physical pieces. So if you do build this with physical bricks and encounter an issue, drop a comment on Rebrickable and I'll see what I can do. At some point I would like to build this in real life as well, but this was kind of my temporary fix up until that point. So thanks for watching, guys. Just a little walkthrough for my modification. Also trying a new format for Rebrickable instructions. Most of the time I just put in the studio model or make a PDF. So trying out the video instructions today. Let me know down in the comments if you liked it and if there's something I can improve for future videos. We will see you guys next time on Brick System Brothers.